Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I know by the title of this video you probably are thinking to yourself, this is gross. Is she a cave woman? Does she not shave? Is she hairy? And what does her husband think? But I am here to clarify a few things. I am not gross, number one. And number two, I don't shave my underarms, and this is the reason why, because I wax. And I'm going to tell you a few benefits of waxing and why personally for me it has been so beneficial to wax versus using a razor every time. Number one, these razors are like $13 a piece, and then plus the cartridges are probably like $15 for maybe like 3 of them. So that can be a pretty hefty price by the end of the year if you have to shave your legs, you know, your area, and then your underarms and whatever else you're shaving. And so per year you can really just toss out a lot of these razors. So when I went to school, and I went to aesthetic school, we were taught to do waxing, and I think it's such a great thing. Really the benefits of me waxing was that once I wax, of course you're tearing, you know, and it sounds horrific, but it's not. You're tearing the hair out of the hair follicle. And so what happens is if you catch the hair within a certain phase, that means that you will continue to damage that hair follicle, and it's more likely that that hair will not grow, or it will grow but it's going to be very close to the surface and it's going to be very fine. And so number one, why I like waxing is because you don't see those little dots. You know, when you shave, you're just basically taking the top layer of the hair, and then the rest of the hair is still in your follicle, so it grows pretty quickly. You have to, you know, shave every 1 to 2 days. Some people, you know, more than others. And so what I like about waxing is that you don't see like the little dots, especially like if it's summer season or spring season and you're wearing tank tops, you're wearing bathing suits. It's a perfect way to get rid of those little dots. I've seen a lot of people that said that they've tried waxing, they don't like it. Number one, because it hurts, and number two, because it really doesn't do anything for them as far as like the growth. But I can tell you that it will do it if you have to just catch it within the right phase. A lot of people, what they do is they'll wax it one time and then wait for it to come to grow completely in before they get another wax. But what you're doing within that phase is that you're allowing that hair follicle to strengthen again. So you're kind of just, you know, giving yourself maybe 3 to 4 weeks without shaving. So the best way to do it is if you wax from the beginning, you might have to wax a little bit more often. You know, and it depends on your hair growth. I think I had to wax probably like every 3 weeks, and once I've done it so many times, I don't really have to do it as often because the hair growth kind of stops, and then my hair is very, very fine, and I don't have to wax as often. So I eliminated shaving altogether, so it has been very beneficial. And waxing really doesn't hurt for me now because my hairs are so close to the surface of the skin, and it doesn't feel like, you know, it's plucking out a really deep root. Number two benefit is that I've really stopped sweating as much, and I know that this is going to be TMI for some people, and some people are going to be grossed out, but I don't wear a deodorant, and I can tell you several things. First of all, I don't sweat under my arms very much, and I used to wear deodorant when I was a teenager, and what I've noticed is that I would sweat more because what happens is deodorants, you know, and especially us girls, we like it to smell good, we like to cover up, we don't like to stink. Excuse me, but I think taking care of your whole body altogether. So if you're eating healthy foods, you shouldn't be producing like a really disgusting body odor. If you bathe, you know, frequently, you shouldn't be producing a terrible body odor unless you're having some health issues. What I've noticed is with the clients that I've had, you know, and they use deodorant religiously, when I would wax, they would have like this product all the way around the shaft or like the root of the hair, and it would be that deodorant. So number one, they expand their pores and they clog them with this deodorant. And so, you know, your skin is trying to push out the sweat because it's a natural process. That's how your body cools down. And number two, I think there are dangers in wearing a deodorant, just like there is in certain kind of products that you would put on your skin, because it does go into your bloodstream. You have really main, what do you call those? Glands under your arms. And of course, for women, if you're, you know, you have a chest and you have, you know, breast tissue, that could be dangerous as well, where over time, you know, a lot of people experience, you know, either cancer or kind of get some kind of lumps or infections under their arms. So you have to be very careful. Now, I'm not saying, you know, stop using a deodorant. There are just healthier alternatives to the smelly good stuff. There are like antiperspirants, I believe, that you can get like from Whole Foods. Some of them might not smell, you know, the best, as far as like, it's not going to smell like perfume. It might smell a little bit more natural, but it's definitely a lot healthier for you if you decide to still use a deodorant even after shaving for such a long time. Now, there are people that do lasers, and more kudos to them. That's not within my budget for right now, but I do have a 2-pot wax that's here. I'm not going to show it to you guys because it's absolutely very dirty, very sticky. I have to get another cleaner. What it does, it dissolves the wax, and it sounds a lot easier than it is, but at the same time it's not, because it is very sticky and you have to pour that solution on and it smells, and so I have to clean this whole thing. And so I use these big popsicle sticks, and you can get them from Hobby Lobby for cheaper versus going to Sally's, because Sally's is going to sell you like a little stack for like $5, which is very expensive. And then I use my muslin paper. So I use my muslin paper versus the cotton. I like this one better just because I feel like it doesn't add to the pain. The cotton is a little bit more complicated, and it has like the strings sometimes pull from it, and if your legs are sticky or whatever area you're waxing, it can get all over you. So it's just like a regular paper. It does really, really well with wax. The wax that I use is called Satin Smooth, and it is from a professional store, but there are alternatives that you can get from Sally's. You can get one called GiGi Wax, and I think there's another brand that they just came out with, and it's a new one. It's called Satin Wax or something like that, and I think it's probably similar to Satin Smooth. It is $15 a can. However, if you're just, you know, waxing your eyebrows in between here, your underarms or your bikini area, that pot should last you several months, if not more, especially because most people just kind of do that kind of stuff in the summer. And then the wax warmers can be like $20, and you can actually get them as a kit, and they actually come with the wax and the strips and some of the sticks. So it's really a money-saving thing versus having to buy these razors and having to shave every day. So it's time-saving and it's money-saving. Of course, I would recommend you to either watch how-to videos on how to apply wax properly and how to rip properly. And if you are scared and you are terrible with pain, I would probably recommend you to either go to a professional or somebody that knows what they're doing so that they can wax you, and that way you don't get any kind of tears. Because using wax, sometimes if you use it improperly, if it's not the right temperature, if you tear it in the wrong way, then you may be more likely to rip your skin. And I'm not saying like rip and your guts are coming out, but I'm talking about like that superficial rip, where you will see, you know, that red patch, and it might be very sore. I mean, I've done it myself, even though I am an esthetician, so sometimes you have to be careful how you use it. So a very quick, easy tip I'm just gonna show you. If you're doing your underarms, just do like 5 inches cut, and then use your stick and dip it on one side, and then scrape off the back on the pot so that you don't have a bunch of wax leaking everywhere. And then wherever it is, you know, make sure which way your hair growth goes, so that you can put the wax in the direction of that hair growth. And there is soft wax and there is hard wax, and usually the best way to do your underarms is soft wax. I'm not going to get into hard wax because that's a whole nother video, but I use soft wax, so I dip it in. It's very kind of liquidy. You don't want it too hot, so you want to make sure that you either test it out on your arm or, you know, blow on it. Of course, that's not very sanitary. For those of you that are professionals, know that you don't do that in a salon, and if somebody does that in a salon for you, don't take that because that's germs and that's nasty. Anyway, so you dip the stick in, you scrape the back, so you'll have the wax only on this side, and then you'll apply it, and you'll apply like gentle pressure and almost like a tilted in an angle towards, you know, whichever way the hair grows. So let's say my hair grows this way, so I will apply my wax this way, and then don't create like a way too big of an area. If your area is way too big, split them in 2 sections so that it's not that painful to do all in one strip. But if you're brave and you want to do it all in one time like I am, you just want to, you know, apply the wax very thinly. You don't want to go over it twice, because with soft wax, if you know, create multiple layers, you might cause yourself a little bit more pain. So don't do that. It's always, it needs to go a very thin layer just once, and then you'll apply the strip and you'll rub it up and up and up and up. So basically that rubbing motion will help to will help the wax to adhere to the paper, and that motion also with the heat of your palm will also help to kind of make sure that the paper and the wax stick together. And then you'll apply, and then make sure that you have about 2 inches from the top area or wherever, whichever way you're ripping, either the bottom or the top, so that you can grab. And then you want to make sure you're holding it tight. So most of the time I'm like this, making sure that my skin is tight, because if you don't have somebody helping you or a professional that's actually holding your skin tight, you're more likely to rip your skin. So that's another challenge. So and then I'll just quickly just rip it down, and then make sure that I pat so that I don't have any excess wax. But that's pretty much it. And so I hope this video did not gross you out, and I hope it was informative. I love sharing my information with you guys on how I save money, and I don't go to a salon, even though I know some people go for pampering, and that's perfectly fine. Sometimes I do that, but I like to do a lot of my stuff at home and by myself. So I hope this was informative, and that this gives you a little bit of knowledge and saves you a little bit of money for you to take care of yourself at home. As always, create culture and be you. Be sure to comment below if you have any other questions, any concerns, any kind of product questions. I'd love to answer and respond back to you as quickly as I can. But I love you guys, and thank you so much for staying tuned, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.